now what do you
washed
do?
Up.
Now what do you do? You're in
TV
you're
all
in a
day.
little box from L.A.
All
That's
day
all it
TV,
is.
baby.
Yeah, this is what we do now. It pays the rent. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the future of the Lakers, the end for Dirk and Dwayne, and Scott Van Pelt joins us from the Masters. Scotzo, shout out. But we begin today with a stunning announcement that after only 2 years on the job running the Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson has quit. He quit without telling his boss, Jeannie Buss, who gave him the job and complete authority to run the team. Magic said, quote, "I want to go back to having fun. I want to go back to being who I was before taking on this job," unquote. And I add parenthetically, we all want that. Wilbon, why do you think he stepped away like this?
Because he could. Because he can. You said everybody wants to run away and do that. That's right. He's Magic Johnson. And you know what? He lived the first half of his life, the first, I guess, third, as Magic Johnson. And so he's got to this point, Tony, a few months from turning 60. And I'm going to say this because I know Magic for 40 years, and I feel I can make this observation. He didn't like what he was doing. It wasn't the fun that his previous life was, even his second life, which is extraordinary. Those are fun things that he does every day, things he built, even the things that were difficult and took a lot of work. He enjoyed that. He wasn't enjoying elements of this. And so he said, you know what? I don't need this. I've got options. These things I created, they're still out there for me to be engaged in and to engage me. And he said, that's it. I'm done. And I know you can disagree with the way he did it. You can disagree and say, wait a minute, he promised all these people he'd be there. And okay, you can make that criticism.
I will.
A lot of people, and I know you for as long as I've known him, and you want to walk away from a lot of things, and you don't feel you have the options he does.
Who do I tell you all the time is the greatest basketball player I've ever seen?
Irvin Johnson.
Okay, so let's start with that. This is an unbelievably weak move to me. The Lakers are a disaster. They're a dumpster fire. He is the architect of this. It is terrible. Nobody is going to want to go play there, and he just decides, that's it, I'm done, because I want to go back to being Magic Johnson because he got criticism, and he doesn't like criticism. Why do you take the job? How do you not tell Jeannie Buss? She hired you. How do you go public with it and not give her a heads up? This is unfathomable to me. I understand why he would want to leave, but I was stunned that he would leave. Like, absolutely
Tony,
stunned, Mike. Stunned.
Tony, he ain't the architect of this dumpster fire. They were a dumpster fire, which is why they brought him in. They were a dumpster fire when Kobe Bryant was still no. They were a dumpster fire.
Awful
Put
now.
it where it lays. Put it where it's supposed to be.
LeBron James joins that team, and everybody has hopes and dreams.
It's not any better. He didn't fix it, he was not the architect of the dumpster fire.
He's responsible for this team that's out there, and I'm very surprised that he'd walk this soon. I'm just surprised at this.
Tony, I'm surprised too. But I will say, you talk about him being afraid of criticism. Magic has not been afraid to try things and fail on a big stage. All I got to cite is
the television show. I understand.
That didn't go so well.
But I would go back to this. Why? He saw what this thing was. Why take this job? A lot of people said, that's not going to work.
Why are you presuming he knew what it was? Have you not ever gone into anything and not known exactly what it was? Oh, wait. You went into a television show and didn't know what the hell it was.
That is exactly right. And now, 18 and a half years later, we're still doing it.
Because it worked.
Yeah.
There are things 20 years later he's still doing. Just not that.
I love him.
I'm stunned too.
I'm surprised.
Me too. Surprised as well. Magic is gone, but there is a fascinating cast of characters that remains. Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, still the GM. Luke Walton, still the coach. And of course, LeBron James. The Lakers' offseason is on. The team has money to sign at least one mega free agent plus other guys and a pick in the lottery. Tony, where does this whole melodrama move from here?
I don't know where it moves, but I'll tell you the first thing I would do if I was running that team, I'd go knock on LeBron James's door, and I'd take his temperature, because I'd be afraid that by 9 o'clock this evening, he would stand up and say to who's ever in the room, I'm out of this joint. And he'd go to a lot of places. He can go to the Clippers if he wants. He can go to the Warriors and replace Kevin Durant, who's going to leave the Warriors. If he chooses to, he can go to Cleveland. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is I would call the people who made the Lakers great. I'd call Phil Jackson. I'd call Jerry West. These are local calls for these guys. I would call Pat Riley, somebody who made the team great. And then the next guy I'd call is Kobe Bryant. Because the thing we know about Kobe Bryant is he's not afraid to work hard and just bury himself in something. And those are the first things I would do, because I'm not sure that the way they're constituted now, they can get the mega free agent, or maybe Anthony Davis, but I don't know. I don't know. What would you do?
LeBron James can't go to any of those places because he ain't a free agent.
He can just say, I'm not playing here, trade me. Trade me.
Fine, he ain't going to any of those places. That's number one. Secondly, maybe that the new Laker approach ought to be to look outside family. You don't have to just look at former Lakers. There are other people, Tony, with assets.
Yeah, but they made it. We know they made it work there.
Community.
We know that in that setting they made it work. Right?
They made it work, but doesn't mean, Jerry West is already in the same building, in the same town, with a playoff team with money. Yeah. So what the hell does he need to go to the Lakers for?
He's a Laker.
His jersey's already hanging there.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a Clipper jersey. He had a Laker jersey.
They could put the Laker jersey in the Clippers rotation because it's Jerry West, if he wants him to do that. Tony, they have to go out and find somebody. I'll just mention one name, a guy named David Griffin, maybe because he's not an ex-Laker, but he's got a resume.
He does.
And someplace other than L.A., he's done great things.
Yeah.
He's just one guy. There are others. But they're going to have to move on with this, Tony.
I think they have no roster now, Mike.
And Rob Pelinka's role is going to be examined. It's going to be a lot to examine.
I think they have absolutely no roster right now. I think they have LeBron James, and they surrounded him with people who can't even shoot. And what's great about LeBron James is he finds open shooters. I think it's a disaster. I know I'm going back to this. I think you got to tell your boss. When this happened, when I saw this last night, I was dumbstruck by all of it.
Tony, I was getting on a plane to come to Los Angeles on the jetway when the phone started blowing up. And I'm surprised, too. And again, I've known Magic all of our adult lives. I was surprised. But you know what? I feel good for him today because he was happy by the time he talked to Rachel Nichols.
Yeah, he was relieved
because
the criticism is over.
Magic Johnson again.
Well,
good for him.
You know, I'd like to be Magic Johnson, too. We'd all like to be Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
But I'm still stunned that this happened so quickly. Anthony Davis, who we talk about all the time, came to what could be his last home game as a member of the New Orleans Pelicans last night, wearing a T-shirt that sarcastically said, quote, "That's all, folks," unquote. Davis said today that shirt was picked out for him by someone else. But Pelicans coach Alvin Gentry said last night, quote, "I think he's a very good kid. I think he got some bad advice. I will leave it at that," unquote. Wilbon, do you agree? And is that on Davis or his advice givers?
I don't connect the shirt, the stupid T-shirt. People wear all kinds of stupid T-shirts. I don't pay them any attention, and I don't parse words on T-shirts. I know that's one of your favorite pastimes.
Yeah, I'm a big T-shirt guy.
You know, I don't care about big boy choosing his clothes. I reject the notion. Anthony Davis was quoted somewhere saying that it was picked out. He had to wear it. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
I got an 11-year-old. He won't even wear what I picked out for him. So
you can look at the T-shirt and hold it up and say, I don't think I'm going to wear this.
You're a quarter billionaire. You don't have to wear what big boy picks out.
Right.
So I don't really care about that. I do believe in it. Anthony Davis is, let me just say this. There is nothing mean-spirited about Anthony Davis. I know him well enough to say that with confidence. But, Tony, I think he at times has either, I'm not going to say bad advice, he has not done the right thing. He has done things that have had misfortune to them now, and he may have been led there. But I don't tie that to the stupid T-shirt. I guess you do.
He's responsible. If people give you bad advice, don't take bad advice. You know, there are some celebrities in this country that may be going to jail because they willingly and eagerly wanted to do something and got bad advice, you just can't walk away from that and blame everything on everybody else. Anthony Davis was a pawn in the most destructive thing that happened in the NBA this year. This aborted trade that was engineered by Rich Paul with the consent, obviously, of LeBron James and Magic Johnson. It killed two teams. It got two GMs. They're gone. One quit yesterday and one was fired before this. And it has made these teams in such a terrible position. And Anthony Davis is part of that. And Anthony Davis walked down that road by himself. So I don't completely absolve him, and I don't think you do either.
No, I don't, but he didn't walk down it by himself. But Tony, do you think, like I think, that there is a chance, and I think greater than 10%, that Anthony Davis could still play in New Orleans beyond this season, which ends tonight?
Well, if that's true, he's going to have to get a new haberdasher because he can't be wearing those shirts anymore.
You fire Big Boy?
Yeah.
You going to blame this on Big Boy? Really?
No, again, when somebody picks out my clothes, I do open them up to see what they say.
Yeah, I know. Zania can pick out my clothes, not Big Boy. Let's end our NBA segment on a couple of endings. Both Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade took a bow for the final time in their respective home arenas last night. Each got in the Wayback Machine and scored 30. Dirk even found it within him to throw one down. These guys are both NBA champions, first ballot Hall of Famers, and utterly irreplaceable in the towns they've played. Tony, your reflections on their send-offs and careers?
Yeah, so this is a feel-good moment that counterbalances to some degree everything that we've been talking about so far, including that terrible trade that was an attempted palace coup that left everybody weakened. This was lovely last night for both people, for Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know if we're going to argue about this. They're clearly both Hall of Famers. I think Dirk Nowitzki is a little bit more important, and not just because he has an MVP in the league, but because he's the greatest European player of all time. So culturally, he opened doors and did away with prejudices that may have existed before he got to be such a great player. But both of these people are tremendous players and are writ large in the literature of the NBA.
There's no question about that, Tony. Dwayne Wade matters more to me only because he's from where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I've been following Dwayne Wade since he was at Richards High School. So that's more than half of Dwayne Wade's life at this point. And to see him come along and become this great player. And Tony, do one of the most unselfish things in NBA history. He took a smaller role when he did not have to for the good of the Miami Heat and LeBron James so they could pursue championships.
Yeah,
and they won two of them in 4 years.
And Chris Bosh is involved in that too.
Bosh too, yes. But I'm just saying, we're talking about Wade right now.
Yeah.
Wade was the star. Wade had already won one of these things where Bosh and LeBron had not.
No, you're right.
He won it.
I thought it was great last night to see Barkley, to see Larry Bird, to see Scottie Pippen, all these people there for Dirk. Both were great. Let's take a break. Coming up, Tiger thinks he can win the Masters, but how realistic is that? We're going to ask Scott Van Pelt.
We'll also ask him what's gone wrong with Jordan Spieth's game. What's up with him?
Again, I know I keep saying this. This is stunner. My investigation has revealed that the Masters tees off tomorrow, which makes it a great time to welcome back our dear friend Scott Van Pelt. Scott, so let us start with this. Tiger says he can win it, but it's been 14 years since he actually won it. How realistic? You look at him. How realistic is it that he can win this?
It's more realistic, Tony, because since he was here last year, he's won the Tour Championship. And in the last two majors that were played last summer, the Open at Carnoustie and then the PGA at Bellerive, he had the lead on Sunday in the back nine, Molinari won, and he was very close to Koepka coming down the stretch. So what that tells us is, since he came here last year wondering if he could compete and contend, he now knows he can again. And I found this very interesting, guys. He said he needed to remind himself how to win. He's won 80 times. And this is what he said that win last year at East Lake at the Tour Championship meant to him. So I know it's been a long time, but he has, as he called it, quite a mental Rolodex here. And he's played very well of late in the biggest stages in the game. So I'd say it's awfully realistic that he can win.
Scott, in order to win or even contend seriously, he's going to have to putt well. It seems like he's ready to trust his putting. Is that the feel you get from here, warming up and getting ready for tomorrow?
He's put a lot of work in, Michael, to that point around the putting green. Short game, obviously that's paramount here for he and everybody else. But his issues have clearly been with the putter. And through the years, he talks about even going back to the very first time he won in '97, just remembering something his father said about his setup on the putting green that clicked. And it's very streaky and fluky. You all know this as the fine golfers that you are. You find that thing you trust. And if he does, then that would help him a lot. But if he putts the way he has putted throughout this year, that would really be a giant problem for for him because it's been the reason he hasn't done better.
All right, so Wilbon and I obviously overtly root for Tiger to win. There are a lot of people that we like and we'd be happy with it. If Tiger doesn't win this, from an analytical standpoint, who do you see as winning this?
It's hard not to love where Rory currently sits because first of all, he drives the ball better than anyone here. He also has played very, very well this year. And after he won at the Players when he was on my show, he told me it was massive to play well on a Sunday because he hadn't played well there. And it was another sort of hurdle for him to get over just in terms of closing a deal. So we know that there's the added weight of if he wins, it finishes off the career slam. But obviously, Rory is on that very short list. Justin Rose would be on the very short list as well. He's finished second here twice in the last 4 years, and he's now the world number one. But what I find so interesting about this course, fellas, is that whether it's Tiger or Phil who've won here in the past, or players like Rory or Justin Rose who only seem to finish in the top 10, there are so many world-class, highly ranked players who all feel the same way. It's like everybody has a crush on the same girl. Sunday night, obviously, only one person can dance with Augusta, so to speak, and wear a green jacket. My pick this week, and it's a little bit off the grid, has been Tony Finau. I know that it's not the shortest of odds, but this is a player who could become the fifth straight first-time major winner here at Augusta National. It wouldn't shock me. He played very well here last year on Sunday, and he's a guy that can make a bunch of birdies in a row. So I'm going a little bit off the grid, and I'm saying Finau's my pick.
I like that. Like Finau, Scott. One name we haven't mentioned yet, and this would have been unthinkable as recently as 2 years ago, is Jordan Spieth. I mean, every time I tune into something, there is a discussion about what is wrong with Jordan Spieth and can he have that not be wrong this week. So, Scott, what is the feeling there about Jordan Spieth? And it sounds like he's a little more confident, but it's hard to tell.
He insists that he is, but if he sat down with the media on Tuesday and said, you know, guys, I suck at golf right now, and I don't think I have a chance, he'd be the first guy to sit down and say that. I think there's a little bit of, positive self-affirmation that's in play here. He says, I'm playing better than maybe my scores indicate. Started well last week in Texas, did not have a great weekend. He also has struggled putting the ball, but his statistics from the tee are even worse. He can't find fairways. That's a little bit baffling to me. He insists he's good, and Andy North, who I defer to with these things, says he'll come here and his great play here, he's got a better score over the last 5 years than anybody else, 39 under par. He will feel great about his chances. It will discount whatever else has happened. He'll believe because he's been good here that he'll be good here again.
Thank you so much, Scotty. And
Thanks,
you look
Scott.
great,
Appreciate
by the way.
it,
That is a great looking suit.
I feel good. I feel really handsome today, which is rare for me. Thank you.
Well, next to us, anybody could be handsome, but you've earned it. You are handsome. ESPN's coverage of the Masters begins tomorrow at 3 p.m. Let's take one last break, but still to come, how concerned should the Yankees be about the latest injury to Luis Severino?
And should Marcell Ozuna be proud of the effort he gave on that fly ball?
That was 3 wide without any hair on the show.
That's good. That's the way life should be. Well, no, that's 2 who understand they need to come home and 1 who's still a holdout.
Well, the sides are near and dear to me. Happy time. People, happy 83rd birthday, John Madden. It's just 10 years ago that John Madden left the broadcast booth. When he entered it 40 years ago, Madden was a revelation. He set the style for every former player or coach who ever sat in a football booth. He was funny, he was smart, and he understood this was a television show. I wish he was still doing it.
Tony, everybody wishes he was still doing it. But, Madden has stayed out of the spotlight. Have we heard from John Madden at all?
Not
other
much.
than,
Not
Madden,
much.
his video games?
Happy anniversary, Phil Mickelson. Around this day 15 years ago, Mickelson made an 18-foot putt on the 72nd hole to win the Masters, his first career major. As soon as the putt went in, Phil took a victory leap that maybe got him 2 to 3 inches off the ground. Phil has gone on to win 4 more majors, but still lacks the elusive U.S. Open that would give him the career Grand Slam.
Well, I have it on good authority that if and when Phil wins that U.S. Open, he's going to twerk there on the green.
That'd be fantastic. Happy trails to this catch by Marcell Ozuna. The Cardinals left fielder and former Gold Glove winner goes back to the wall to catch this ball from Kike Hernandez. But after Ozuna climbs the wall, he realizes he has miscalculated the depth of the fly ball. And then he falls down as the ball falls short of the wall, lands on the track, and is ruled a ground rule double. And we show this because we are cruel, which is also why we show this similar play from last season. Mike, maybe he should be an infielder.
Tony, this is one of those situations where my parents would have said, we don't laugh at things like that, and you turn your head and you snicker.
Yeah, you snicker.
would. You couldn't help it.
One huge error, Wilbon, you said repeatedly that Anthony Davis' stylist is Big Boy, or Big Bois, I like to call him. But Big Bois is a giant hip-hop star. The stylist may or may not be somebody named Big Shot. Quickly, big finish. Yankees starter Luis Severino shut down another 6 weeks with a new injury, a lat strain. Cause for concern.
It's cause for a trade. They got to go get somebody. John Wall says he's not sure if he'll be able to play at all next season. Wow, your thoughts?
No chance he plays next season. Jamal Crawford of the Suns dropped 51 last night. Big deal?
The oldest to do it, Tony. I love Jamal Crawford. R.J. Barrett declared for the draft. How high is he going to go?
Top 5, maybe. Last one. Last spot in the East on the line tonight. Who gets that?
I want to say Detroit, but Blake's not playing. I'm going to say Kemba Walker in Charlotte.
Out of time. Trying to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. We're bumped by the Masters until Monday, knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the app or Apple Podcasts.
Happy birthday Sunday, Michael.